Is there a lot of Robert Jurgendals there in Estonia? Is that a common name?
Absolutely not. I think it comes from Scandinavia, the last name. And the first name, actually, I think it was yeah, I am the 60s, born in 60s. So it's maybe related to the American influence. This time my parents gave me, so it's kind of American dream.
There's not too many people called Robert over there.
Something came from Baltimore. Something came from Baltimore.
Robert Jurjendal, welcome to Something Came from Baltimore.
Thank you for calling me.
I don't know how many people in Baltimore contact you and ask they want to talk about your album. Baltimore, Maryland. Do you have a lot of people from the States that are contacting you?
Not so many, but all reactions are really positive. Very interesting to read these comments and quotes, so I'm really appreciated.
Yeah. I fell into it, and it was by your album cover. Your daughter created that album cover, and
Right.
And I thought that was really, really attractive and interesting, and then it matches the music. Could you explain, I guess, to the audience, if they haven't looked at the album cover, what the intention was? It seems like that was after the fact of the music, correct? So you made the music and then said, hey, this is what I would like to see.
You're absolutely right. And I remember I sent some music to my daughter. Yeah, I just said, listen, and just listen and try something. What comes in your mind? And she made a lot of sketches, and in the end, she actually completely, like one big paint, made a very nice picture. But for me, it was too much. Even it was too much completed. But we were lucky because she took some takes, some pics during the process. If you look at the cover, it's like not ended. It's something is open and it still goes on. It's continuous. It's not a fixed thing. It's like open. This was idea. I'm very happy.
The album that is called, that we're talking about, is called Water Finds a Way, and it is on the New Dog Records. It came out February 23rd, 2021. It's brand new. It's really great. Do you have a lot of work there in Estonia?
It's the hard question nowadays. So it's I think a lot of musicians are just waiting for the right moment. But I used to do a lot of studio work, so I'm recording almost every day, preparing for next album already. So it's kind of time you have to use it. But of course, live performances are canceled a lot, and a lot of travelings are canceled. So not only in Estonia, I think it's everywhere. Quite similar situations. Quite tough time actually. Not a good one.
We've had a tough time over here with COVID. Or is the COVID, like, is it under control, or is it still kind of like wildfire over there? Or
it's not a good situation, but it depends a lot of how much energy and how much attention you put it into the team. I'm very sensitive in this question because if you're really too much into this team from morning to up to the evening, and every news main news are only about this, and all last year almost. So I think it has a very big impact to our mental center. So I'm a little bit careful with this. I know it's a difficult situation. Somehow it's a challenge. We can now find something new to do in our life, and maybe some relations. We have to think a little bit. We make some decisions right now, and this is not a bad thing at all, maybe. So let's take almost the best out of from this situation.
I agree. 1991 was you guys were still under like Soviet regime, and now you haven't been since. You've been more or less a democracy since. You lived through that. Do you feel that your life has changed differently since then? Like, do you feel a difference in your country?
Absolutely. It's a new world now, and it started all actually years before, because it was every people knew something has to be changed. Many years before, because it's a collapse was so big, and thanks for God, Estonians didn't forget this first independence time before the World War II. So there was still a connection. I mean, through the people the elder people and teachers and musicians, artists, people who were really serious in this thing. So there was still a connection. But we were quite close to the moment that it disappears. You know, it's kind of cultural cutting. And I maybe like 50 years and no more Estonia at all. So it was very, very fragile time, but so we are happy. Situation was very good for us. 1 million people near the very, very big Russia. So it was absolutely kind of miracle, I would say. And but let's say if you're an artist, you say artist is always like a little bit different. It differs from the full societies, and you still have some kind of ideas which are, let's say, unpolitical, and say a kind of human, and say run through the all decades, all kind of systems, all kind of say a kind of, let's say, this is kind of also like water finds a way. Actually, the meaning of the title is a little bit the same. It's philosophically, the water is like existence, or something human existence. It's something which really comes out even you think that everything is lost and you know, no more hope or something like that. It's still, there is a tiny possibility.
You're my age, and what I got excited about is when I first listened to your album, I heard like Friptophonics or a version of Friptophonics in the back of my mind. When did you go to the guitar craft with Robert Fripp? How old were you, or what was that year time period?
It was 1992.
Okay.
And I took all together, like, I think 3 courses. The first one was very important, level 1. That was the most important. It's 1 week course. And then
you went to America?
Yeah. The courses were in Großschau in Germany. So in an old mansion. I met a lot of nice people there. I still very nice friends like Bert Lambs from California trio. So Bert has also been in Estonia, and I organized some concerts for him. So we played together also. So some very nice memories from these courses, really. And Fripp is a great teacher, of course.
It was such a big deal to get in. If people don't realize that, you know, you just don't put an application in and get in. Like, it was, you know, pre-selected, and you know, you crossed your fingers and you hope that you got in. And he took people who had a lot of skill, and it's an honor to get in. I had a conversation with someone who went through it, and I just wanted to relay what he had said back in, when it started out, right around the time that you did, is that it was stressful because it was a way of life on top of the music, where he had you working out in the garden to be connected to nature, that he had a vegan or healthy lifestyle, and a lot of rock and roller, no drugs, no alcohol, and a lot of rock and roll guitar players this was a foreign lifestyle to them, like the whole mind body spirit connection. They weren't ready for it yet. That was something that was foreign to them. So he said there was a lot of people who dropped out because they couldn't handle the rigors of the, what Robert was trying to provide. Was that something that happened, like that kind of lifestyle?
I have heard these stories, and of course there were some people who, let's say maybe they were just more interested to see Robert and to see others and to just have to jam and some more guitars, but it didn't work. It didn't work. So because the aim was different. The aim was to something really personal, and the course was quite different from ordinary, let's say ordinary common courses, because some players, some members of the course, they didn't play much. They came just to work with people and in some other way. And because, which I very much like them, is that different things like gardening, kitchen work, cleanings, and also stuff, they were equal with playing discipline. But that was the idea. If you were not good in kitchen or in garden, you were not good. You didn't have good timing, let's say, or slumps. You didn't hear others so well. So it was very philosophical, and of course some people enjoyed it and understood it better, as some people less. So it's a big challenge, and we had a lot of talks. I mean, in the evenings during the dinner or lunchtime, after that there were kind of questions, answers, and also like free stage surprises, like somebody was prepared and came in, or two people or three or four, so they had prepared something very special, musical moment. They played for audience, and then after that there was a discussion how it felt. Really, was it natural, or was it like pathetic? But pathetic is something which was like really not a good thing in this during these courses. To be pathetic, I mean, it's not just, let's say, honest and not the natural way.
I remember him saying that he talked to the group and said, I want you to imagine the color blue, and you need to perform music that represents blue. Like something like that was conceptual and blew that guy's mind. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean, like, play the color blue? Like, what does that mean? In my personal opinion, there's some things in life you can't force, like if gardening work, in your mind you want it to move fast, but the garden will tell you can only go to the left, like as fast as the garden wants you to go. You have to surrender to the earth and work the garden the way the garden wants to be worked. You can't work it your way, or your garden will never grow. It's a great lesson, I think.
Yeah, beautiful. It's you I think you know as much as I know, so it's very much the same.
Well, are you familiar, like the Warm Jets and No Pussyfooting came out in 1973. As a child, I got those, and tape looping was very like primitive, obviously, when you look at it now. And it's one thing that you're very good at. Was that a part of the class, or is that something that you picked up a little later?
Actually, I started also making some loops quite early, but even I didn't heard about Robert at all. But I just used different techniques, so like blind techniques, like recorded on one track and then added another, like in a blind way. I didn't hear what was recorded before. I just had an imagination. So I had to choose musical material which is not so symmetrical, not so rhythmical. It was more about sound conception, and so I made quite early. I think in the end of '80s already. So kind of.
Oh wow!
I think so.
So then, when you found about Robert Fripp, did you go, "Wow, he's doing exactly what I'm doing"?
No, actually, the guitar craft courses were like 100% acoustical guitar. So it was acoustic work. It's very primary with pick and with your acoustic guitar in a new standard tuning. It's very different. It didn't remain about electronics and Fripptonics at all. So, and I like this because it's kind of it shows you that the music and the artist is so wide range. I like this kind of approach because I'm also doing a lot of different things, like, and sometimes like writing music for choir. It's a more classical way, because we have a very good choir tradition in Estonia. It's really good. And then sometimes I mix things like choir, and then I play those Arve Henriksen, it's a great Norwegian trumpet player. We had a very nice program in Estonia some years ago. So we added like choir, percussion, electric guitar, trumpets, things. So a lot of different things. And then I work my in studio just alone with ideas and loops and stuff.
This is your fourth solo album. When you collaborate, the vision that you have for that project varies for whatever's necessary. I find that this album is multi-layered, and I really need to listen to it multiple times. You know, one track after another, not skipping around or whatever. It really kind of washed over me, and I was like, wow, he's doing a lot of stuff. Like, it's not atmospheric music, and it's not soundscape at all, but you're doing so much stuff inside of the song. It's unfortunate we don't listen to albums the way we used to, but this is one of those albums that need go to the beginning and finish it to the end, and then, you know, multiple plays, and it's going to really soak in, and it's going to feel really good.
Well, thank you. Yeah, you were very right about the things that when I made it all together, I was thinking about being like a writer, like writing a novel. So kind of one thing and one journey, one story. And I had a big wish to the listener, that if the listener can follow my way, I'm very happy, really. And this was my basic aim, to keep attention on every track very carefully, and to keep the kind of imagination and attention, what's going on, what's really happening, and what's the next one, and what's now, and it's kind of adding like different things into one channel, then bringing everything from the beginning to the end.
Very last song is Everything Goes On. That's exactly what I'm thinking. It's a culmination of everything that you had before. I almost thought it was very like psychedelic in some ways.
You're right.
Yeah, it was almost like if you follow the concept of the album of Water Will Find Its Way, it's almost like, okay, now it's a new day, and it's completely charged, and it's completely new and different and vibrant.
Absolutely, yeah. There are some really interesting challenges in this piece, actually, because I used guitar synth, So if you carefully listen it, it's all the strings, this synth stuff is played on guitar very carefully, and like I played with the imagination of strings, like playing guitar synth, not like automatically, but really thinking about playing strings. This is very interesting. And then my son Antti, he played cello, improvised cello on top of this. I think he played some multiple layers. And now, so in the end, if you take the synth guitar and strings and cello, and if you mix it very carefully, and the combination is so interesting. And I think there's a bigger orchestra sometimes. It like sounds like, oh, there are like more instruments, but actually not. It's a little bit like game with this imagination and thing.
It feels like a little surreal piece, like it's just a little on the edge of surreal. The first song is Trust, and I would say that would be something that someone who wants to listen to your album would go, okay, this is what I expect from him. So you kind of set the tone as like, this is what you know, this is me as a guitar guide, this is me playing. As out of all the other songs, I feel that this is the most, you know, more like the rock god kind of guitar playing work. And
you're right.
Morning Land has like a really beautiful vocal, and is that your wife?
Me and my wife. So
you and your wife.
Yeah. I'm calling it not like singing. I'm calling it making voice, making voice together.
An actual connection to language, but to voice.
Yeah, it's no. Let's say there are no words, but it's more like more like instrumental thinking, but still it's voice, and it's a resonance between me and my wife's voice is important. We used to sing together sometimes, so, and this is kind of, it's different from other things.
My favorite song on this album is called The Hikers.
it comes from team where I made for theater play, Estonian theater play, and then I took the team and I added more stuff on it. But if you look the starting team, then the repeating loop, kind of a little bit like Asian even, or kind of, there are some nice influences, kind of Middle East stuff, hidden Middle East stuff.
That's what I was saying. You can casually listen to your music and go, oh, that's pretty. But if you listen to it on the headphones, you're like, oh my God, there's so much stuff going on here.
You were first who says it. I like it. Really, I like this comment, because these things are hidden, and this was the idea, to build to the kind of very strange loop. It comes from who knows where, and to build on this something different.
I have one more song I just want to talk about. It's the Clock Ticks. Has a really like minimal Philip Glassian vibe.
Yeah, it's also different song, and maybe it's more related to the first song. It's more rocky stuff.
Okay, so it's something you had in your pocket a little before the project.
Yeah, it's. I used actually this piece also without guitars, only electronics. It's possible to took the half of the material away from this piece, and it's something different. It still works, which is interesting.
It's a wonderful album, and I as I say to everyone, I recommend that they create a time and listen to the album from beginning to end. Give itself multiple plays. You're going to find something new every single time that you play it. So I really appreciate you coming into Something Came from Baltimore today. Great.
Thank you. So.
I hope you enjoyed the interview tonight on Something Came from Baltimore. Please subscribe and flip it to 5 people who love music.
Something came from Baltimore. Something came from Baltimore.